Okay, so for B9 and B12, those are the last two B vitamins, and they have a couple of similarities. I'll talk about those similarities and give you the memory aids that I have for this. So B9 is folic acid. So you might remember that this has to do with birth defects. We'll talk about that in the deficiency. So folic acid or folate, it's added to white flour and stuff like that. The active form is tetrahydrofolate. So just add tetrahydro in front of folate and you have the active form tetrahydro. And then you have DNA and RNA synthesis. So I think of when you're developing in utero, you have a lot of DNA and RNA synthesis happening. So if you don't have enough of the folic acid, that's going to cause neurotube defects like spina bifida, most importantly. So DNA RNA synthesis, which involves a methyl transfer. So that's one carbon transfer, methyl transfer. So both B9 and B12 have a methyl thing involved with it, and we'll talk about that a little bit more with 12. But just remember for B9, that has to do with DNA synthesis and neural tube defects. Another thing that B9 and B12 have in common, and we'll go on to B12 after this, is they both have an anemia associated with a deficiency. So both B9 and B12 have an anemia involved. B9 is involved with megaloblastic anemia. So we don't see megaloblastic anemia quite as often as some of the other anemias, but that would be the B9 deficiency, along with spina bifida neural tube defects. Last B vitamin, B12, cobalamin. So B12 actually contains cobalt, which is why it's called cobalamin. The inactive form is called cyanocobalamin. Inactive is cyano. You can think about when you don't have oxygen in your system, you have cyanosis. And the inactive form of B12 is cyanocobalamin. So inactive cobalamin contains cobalt. The active form is methylcobalamin. We're going to have a really funny memory aid in a second for that. So methylcobalamin is the active form of B12. And the role that it plays is homocysteine remethylation. So I'm just going to say that now, and then we'll come back to it with a memory aid in a second. So there's a few different disorders that are related with B12 deficiency. First, if it's from a decrease in intrinsic factor, the anemia is called pernicious anemia. And we got that in gastro and in some other classes. So intrinsic factor in the stomach, a lack of intrinsic factor, which helps with the absorption of B12, causes pernicious anemia. From any other cause, such as not getting enough in the diet due to eating a vegetarian diet or something like that, that would again cause megaloblastic anemia. So the same anemia that is caused by deficiency in B9 could be the deficiency anemia of B12, megaloblastic, unless it's from a decrease in intrinsic factor, and then it's pernicious anemia, which is most often associated with B12. The final disease associated with B12 is posterolateral sclerosis, which we talked about in neuro exam. And posterolateral sclerosis, the AKA is combined systems disease. Posterolateral sclerosis, combined systems disease. And that may be one that they really like because it's boards and it has to do with our central nervous system. So one common cause of a B12 deficiency, because B12 is primarily found in animal products, is a vegetarian diet. So it can be lacking in a vegetarian diet. So my little memory aid with all of these methyls in B12, you have methylcoalbumin and homocysteine remethylation. So I just remember that if vegetarians aren't getting enough B12, they just have to do some meth. Vegetarians just need meth. That's all they need, and they're all good. Super dumb memory aid, I know. Okay, last vitamin is vitamin C. So vitamin C, ascorbic acid. So ascorbic acid enhances iron absorption. Iron absorption is the first thing that it does. So you can think of vitamin C and iron working together. And then also vitamin C, ascorbic acid, is involved with the hydroxylation of proline and lysine and collagen synthesis. So just remember collagen synthesis for vitamin C, collagen synthesis. So we have lots of collagen in our blood vessels, elastic collagen in our blood vessels, and that a decrease in that would cause fragile blood vessels, which would cause bleeding in our gums, which is a symptom of scurvy. So scurvy is the primary disease associated with vitamin C, but maybe even more importantly is the fragile blood vessels that are caused from the lack of the collagen synthesis. That is an important function of vitamin C. Fun notes: the highest source of vitamin C is Brussels sprouts, and vitamin C is destroyed by heat. So you can think of on a hot summer day, all of your vitamin C is getting destroyed, and that's why that lemonade tastes so good. So vitamin C is destroyed by heat. Finally, bioflavonoids. Bioflavonoids keep vitamin C in the reduced state. Bioflavonoids keep vitamin C in the reduced state. So that's all for the vitamins. If you have any other memory aids, or if there's anything that I missed or made a mistake on, please leave a comment or let me know. And good luck on boards.